dog having a meltdown outside. Stop. Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for November 24th through 30th. This week I read 3 books, I watched 1 show, I watched 2 movies, and I listened to 2 books. If you're watching this on the day it's published, happy Queer Lit Readathon. I am vlogging right now. It's gonna be wonderful. The first book I finished this week was Into the Drowning Deep by Mira. I absolutely adored this. This is about mermaids, and that sometimes is all I want to tell people. But really, that makes me think that people are going to think it's about mermaids who are nice and happy, and that's not what this book is. This is about killer mermaids, and it's fantastic. This book has a huge cast of characters, but we start with Tori. 7 years previous, her older sister went on this expedition to the Marianas Trench that was sent out by this company that basically makes those cryptozoology, like Shark vs. Tornado, but like their documentary style type of movies. They went off to the Marianas Trench to see if they could find mermaids, and nobody ever came back from that voyage. Now, in the present, Tori is a scientist. She is going on a second voyage to find out what happened. There were tons of characters, there was tons of diversity, there were queer characters, there were characters with disabilities, there were characters from all different backgrounds, and we got to see various different things from their perspective, learn so much about them, and then, you know, so many people succumb to these creatures that they were hunting. This would just honestly make the best action flick I would ever see. I'm just so glad I finally got around to this. This is something I've been wanting to read basically since it came out, and at Brody's insisting I finally got around to it, and thank you so much for giving me that final push I apparently needed. The next book I finished this week was a romance, which is not my usual genre, and that was A Princess in Theory by Alyssa. I've actually read a novella from this series a little while ago, and it focuses on one character we meet in this book and then her love interest. And having already read that and then seeing this first book, I was able to see how well that was written and that the author must have had that in mind because they knew exactly what was happening with this side character, and I just really much enjoyed it. But you know, maybe I should talk about the plot of this book. This book is about Letty. She is a grad student studying epidemiology, which is the study of epidemics around the world. In addition to being overworked at school, she has a demanding job, she's got this best friend that's kind of vexing at this point, and she keeps getting these emails insisting that she is the long-lost princess from this place she's never heard of in Africa, and that they need to verify her personal information, which is about when she stops reading the emails. As it turns out, she really is this long-lost person that is being looked for. Her parents left the solo when she was very, very young, and they died very soon after in a car crash, so she doesn't know where she comes from. It turns out the prince is going to be in New York anyway, so he decides to find her and basically ask why she's shirking her duties and why she never came back to her homeland. And when they meet, he decides to pretend to be somebody else so he can really get to know her and figure out why her family did this thing without her just immediately bowing to the powers of him being a prince, because not many people get to know him for him because they always know that he is royalty. Obviously, lies in a romance are never good. They are found out. There's some strife about this. This book played that very, very well, and then it went to places I didn't expect it to go, and I very much enjoyed it, and I already have the second book on hold at my library. That one is called A Duke by Default, and I have some theories about who the characters might be, but I don't actually know, so I'm looking forward to it. On to the one TV show I watched this week. We finished the 6th season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's all there is on Netflix. I think maybe that's all there is. I don't even know if the 7th season is on TV yet. I just know that the 8th season has been announced that they are going to do it, which is very exciting because I love this cast of characters. It also unfortunately means we need to find something else to watch, which... damn it. Okay, we'll figure it out. The 2 movies we watched this week were related to each other. It was Taken and Taken 2. Obviously I knew the basic premise of at least the first movie because it's been memeified to hell on the internet. This is Liam Neeson. He used to be in special forces and his daughter is kidnapped, so he has to find her. In the second movie, because he killed a bunch of people in the first movie, basically they want revenge for those people that were killed, so they are trying to capture him. You know what? I really enjoy a good action flick every once in a while. I really enjoy when people have to use very specific skill sets to solve problems, which is what this is. So if you're also a fan of action movies and haven't watched these ones, go right ahead, they're great. On to the 2 books I listened to this week, the first one being Queen of Nothing. This is the 3rd in the Folk of Air trilogy. It is the end. It was amazing. I really enjoyed this one. Obviously, being the third in the series, I can't really talk too much about the plot because that would ruin books 1 and 2. What I can tell you is that I really didn't ship the people that you're supposed to ship in the first book, Jude and Carden. I didn't really like it. I could see why people did, and I was fine with other people doing it, but it always made me kind of feel meh. But what I can tell you is they grew on me, and by this third book, I wanted them to get together. I thought that this was a fantastic resolution to the series. I really love this Fae world, and I hope that there's a spin-off series because I would read that. And finally, the other audiobook I finished this week was High School by Sara Quin and Tegan Quin. This is a memoir about their years in high school just before their music careers really, I was going to say took off, but I don't actually know anything about their music careers besides obviously they are popular, they have played in more than one country, and I only know that because I've seen them play in more than one country. If you've been here for a while, you know I don't follow a lot of music, but my best friend does, so I've seen them both here in Victoria, and then I've also seen them in Dublin when I lived there. Here are some things I learned about the Quin twins from this memoir. They did a lot of LSD when they were in high school. They're about 6 years older than I am, they're from Calgary, and they are very different people and spent a lot of time just yelling at each other that it was their turn to use the phone. What I really enjoyed about this memoir is because they are a little bit older, they had a very similar type of upbringing to me in terms of there wasn't social media yet, people didn't have cell phones, people didn't tend to have digital cameras, people still used cassette recorders, and all of that was pretty nostalgic to me because I grew up similarly. Additionally, if it's something accessible to you, I highly recommend this as an audiobook because not only did they read it themselves, it is interspersed with different clips of things that they wrote while they were in high school and recorded while they were in high school, and then there's also an interview at the end between the two of them that was pretty amusing. It mostly had to do with the process of them writing this book and what that felt like and if they'd ever want to write another book and all of that type of thing, and I very much enjoyed that. So if you're a fan of theirs, or if you're a fan of music, or you're a fan of memoirs, or if you're a fan of queer coming out stories, because 2 of them are in here, this is a book for you. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I need to go do some reading for the Queer Lit Readathon. So I'll see you very soon. Bye.